When I was a kid, every Saturday meant doing yard work. There were 5 of us, and our folks basically thought of us as a landscaping crew. In those days, parents let their kids run loose in the neighborhoods, but only after the leaves were raked, the lawns were mowed, and the sidewalks were swept. We lived on a corner lot with lots of trees, so there was plenty of work for a 10-year-old. Now, I never much liked working, and one day I explained it to my pop. I remember handing him my rake and saying, "You know, Dad, today I just don't feel like raking." I thought he should know. He waited a beat, then he handed the rake back to me and said, "Fortunately for us, Dave, a person does not have to feel like raking in order to rake." I was born in 1955 and graduated grade school in 1969. At that time, the world was being reinvented by kids just a few years older than me. They didn't like raking leaves either. They had mottos like, "If it feels good, do it," and "Follow your bliss." I was too young to run off to San Francisco, but the country had fallen under the spell of youth. Older people were losing their grip on the American narrative. Because the previous generations had worked so hard, my generation was born into a pretty soft world. We had the luxury of second-guessing the wisdom of our elders. There had always been food in the fridge. We assumed there always would be. We somehow got the idea into our heads that work was for suckers, that life was supposed to be one long extended party. And most of our parents went through the late 60s and early 70s ducking for cover, just hoping not to piss off their kids and be rejected by them as they ran off to do drugs and listen to the Grateful Dead. The colleges had been taken over by leftists who believed that a job was a form of bondage and that the visionaries who gave us the railroads and power plants were thieves and carpetbaggers. Unions had convinced us that the workplace was properly an arena for the endless expression of grievance, that somehow every worker needed to do as little as possible and be overpaid whenever he could. Work was falling out of fashion, and nobody was making the case for it. Our teachers didn't know how to sell us on it. And gradually, the union-controlled schools asked less and less from the students. School boards were happy just to avoid the increasing threat of lawsuits should some kid take offense at being disciplined. The minute I escaped high school with 1 grade point to spare, I went off to avoid work as a full-time avocation. It wasn't until the last of my hustles collapsed on me like a falling building that I took on real work, and only because I had no way to avoid it. I trudged to work most days like a condemned man. But along the way, I learned what my mom and dad undoubtedly told me while I was ignoring them and dreaming of unending leisure. And that was this: nothing satisfies a person that he has not earned. There is no way out, people. The human world is based on one bone-simple equation: effort equals reward. Whatever good things you have come as the result of work, yours or somebody else's. Effort and reward are inextricably linked. You can't have one without the other, so it's useless to think of them as separate things. It's a system. Pleasure is not something you do instead of work. Pleasure is something you do because of work. Bored by your work? Change jobs. Or do your current job better. Find the opportunities for excellence and flush a measure of pride out of them. Somehow we got things turned around. In the history of humans, effort was what kept us alive. It wasn't filtered through office jobs and paychecks and Amazon orders. It was direct, work or die. No ambiguity in the situation. But somehow we lost perspective and came to believe that convenience and luxury are our natural habitat and that work is a pesky intruder. Our parents, the greatest generation, lost their grip toward the end. They forgot the truths that guided them through the first half of their lives. They dropped the ball, and my generation kicked it into traffic. Work is not a penalty. Work is an elegant human adaptation. It's the source of every single wisp of greatness to which we can lay claim. It's not a barrier standing between us and some new toy. It's the source, work itself. That is where our attention belongs. Trust me, the rewards will take care of themselves. We need to slow down. We need to stop with all the piles of stuff we're building up. We need to push away the endless distractions and remember who the hell we are. We're that lean, mean little species that joined up in tough little bands and conquered a planet. Let's cut the whining and the entitlement thinking and the constant pursuit of shiny objects and blinking lights. Let's get to thinking clearly and working steadily. Don't feel like it? Too tired? Bored with yourself? Depressed? Well, lucky for us, a person doesn't need to feel like raking in order to rake. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.